A group of friends, Jake, Sarah, Tom, and Emily, were eager to escape the daily grind. They decided to spend a weekend camping in the dense wilderness of a remote forest, far from civilization. The woods were known for their isolation, perfect for getting away from it all. But they had no idea that their peaceful retreat would soon turn into a nightmare. The first night started off normal, campfire stories, laughter, and the crackling of flames. But as the night wore on and the fire began to die, the forest around them fell silent. Too silent. Suddenly they heard faint, unnatural rustling from the dense woods. It was unlike any animal sound they'd ever heard. Jake, being the brave one, grabbed a flashlight and peered into the dark woods. His heart raced as he scanned the area, but the light revealed nothing but trees and underbrush. Still, the feeling of being watched persisted. The rustling continued, growing louder and more erratic, as if something or someone was moving closer, just out of sight. As Jake and Tom cautiously stepped closer to the woods, they froze. In the distance, barely visible between the trees, stood a figure. It was tall, human-like, but unmoving. The silhouette seemed to blend into the darkness, and its presence was unnatural. They called out, but the figure didn't respond. It just stood there, watching. A wave of panic washed over them. They turned and rushed back to the campsite, their hearts pounding in their chests. They frantically told Sarah and Emily about what they had seen, but no one could explain it. Was it another camper? Someone lost in the woods? Or was it something far worse? That night, sleep did not come easy. The strange noises from the forest grew louder, closer. The rustling turned into snapping branches and heavy footsteps, as if something large was moving through the woods, circling their campsite. Whatever it was getting bolder. As they sat huddled around the fire, they saw it again. The figure from earlier was now standing at the edge of the campsite, just beyond the light. This time it was closer, and they could see it more clearly. Its face was obscured, but its presence was undeniable, cold and malevolent. It began to move toward them, slow and deliberate. Fear gripped them, and they realized they had to make a choice, run or stay. Tom, fueled by adrenaline, grabbed a burning stick from the fire and waved it at the figure. But it didn't retreat. Instead, it let out an inhuman sound, a guttural, terrifying noise that echoed through the forest. Without a second thought, they bolted into the forest, leaving everything behind. The night was a blur of trees, branches whipping against their faces, and the sound of footsteps behind them. Whatever was chasing them wasn't far behind, and it moved faster than any human should. Just when it seemed like they couldn't run any longer, they burst out of the tree line into a clearing. The forest behind them was still and silent once again. Whatever had been chasing them had stopped, but they knew they could never return to that place.